UFC Macau. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. Super late night show for me. It's 2:42 a.m. We're doing the post weigh-in predictions. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash the like button for the late night drop. If you're new, subscribe, turn the post notifications on, and share the video too. And also note, at 3 a.m. Eastern time, I will be live for UFC Macau. Yes, I'm doing the entire card, fight companion. If I don't sleep, if I do sleep, doesn't matter. I'm bringing the fire for UFC Macau. So tune in, watch the card with me. I'm excited for it. Let's get into the predictions, final calls. First up, we got Mahashate Hayisaer versus Nikolas Motta. You know, I've been picking Mahashate throughout the week, and the reasoning for me picking Mahashate is Motta is kind of like a one-rounder done type of striker. He's got big power, but I think Mahashate could pick his shots. I think he's a little better from the outside. Motta's got a lot of power, but coming with that is a potentially fragile chin. He's got a lot of knockout losses, and though Mahashate 2 fights ago got knocked out, it was against Slava Claus when, I don't know, Slava Claus seemed kind of good at that point. Last fight, Mahashate beat Mowgli Benitez in a tough fight. With Motta, I mean, he's got a win last time out. He chinned Tom Nolan and kind of exposed him. The fight before that, he got choked out by Ogden, but it was an early stoppage. Torres violently starched him. He beat Cameron Van Camp, who's losing fights in bare knuckle now. And then Jim Miller beat him in the fight before that by violent KO. But to be fair, he knocked Jim Miller out in the first round. On the side of Mahashate, he's, 2-2 in his last 4. But the Steve Garcia win is really impressive looking back at it, seeing how good Steve Garcia is doing at 145. And that tells me that Mahashate has like some kind of promise if he can beat someone like Steve Garcia early. I'm going to say Mahashate is live for a KO. I definitely think this fight is going to end up ending inside of the distance. It'd be shocking. Can you imagine these two wild gunslinging savages going all 3? I don't think so. I think we see a brawl. I think Mahashate can win like 2nd or 3rd round volume TKO, but definitely Motta's live early in the fight to catch him, not like a lock city on Mahashate, especially at like -200 chalky lines. We'll look at the odds in a second, but I do want to check out the fighters on the scales. It's UFC Macau, so I got to just scroll through Getty Images to find everything here, and let's see where our fighters are at. I'm like pretty sure that I have every fighter order memorized, but if I don't and I scroll through a little bit, no complaints, guys. It's almost 3 a.m. I'm still bringing the fire, and there was no like American reporting companies that represent MMA, like MMA Junkie on scene. You can see Mahashate right there. I think that he looks actually pretty cut up. He's starting to mature a little bit. I feel like he's got more muscles on him than he used to, and he looks pretty lean. Maybe I'm overshooting it, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you think he looks better than his most recent weigh-ins. I feel like he looks more muscular. He's training with the Fight Ready crew now, and I think that's a good team to like start seeing some real improvements on. I'm seeing the face-off, but now we got to get Motta. Low-key, Motta looked like an absolute Chad in this one. He's somehow like aged in reverse. He's starting to look like a young Brazilian prospect in his 30s, as opposed to when he was younger and bald, he looked old. I still feel like you got to worry about Motta's durability, and as much sting he got in the hands, the chin is ultimately a big question mark. There's the face-off. Mahashate a little taller, a little longer, but I'd say Motta's a little thicker. Both guys look in really good shape for the fight. I'm curious how Mahashate does against, kind of a power puncher. What you're going to get, right? With Motta, you're going to get big shots. You're going to get pressure early. He's got explosive hands. I would just say Mahashate is probably more technically sound. Motta also does train at a good gym. I'm like selling you guys on Motta. I'm not trying to push you away from Mahashate if that's the side you're on, but proceed with caution if you're thinking about betting on him. I guess like people are liking the Motta line this week because of the knockout power, and I get it, right? He's got clean hands, plus 165 for Motta, and he's an experienced vet at this point, taking on the younger guy, Mahashate, at -190. I'm picking Mahashate to win, but I like this fight like ending inside of the distance at -250. I feel like that's that's a high confidence call, especially at minus 188. That's kind of a steal. I think this fight does end inside of the distance. Maheshate by KO is only plus 150. I feel like that's just not a good enough line to play. But I do think he's going to end up getting a knockout. I think he's ending up with a finish. Maheshate, round number 2, plus 700. That's round 3. Round 2 is plus 500. Betting side of the first fight, listen, it's going to be 3 a.m. I don't want to have much down on this one. I think the inside distance call in a parlay is probably the best side of it, unless you're really hunting for the dog in Motta, but you worry about that glass chin. He hits hard, but that chin is a big question mark. Motta's been KO'd a lot. I'll double check for you guys before we keep moving. 4 KO losses. That's valid. And Maheshate's got some power. So I think Maheshate could shut the lights off. We shall find out. Let's keep running up this card. We got Long Xiao versus Quang Li. Quang Bang Li all day. I like Quang Li, man. He's got power in his hands. He's got a pretty good kickboxing ability. I feel like Long Xiao is kind of like a typical pressure fighter from China. Like his skill set is like, it blends in, man. Some of these Road FC guys, or Road to the UFC guys, I should say, it kind of blends in. And Long Xiao style kind of blends in. He's in pretty good shape. He's good on the inside. He'll smother his opponents. He can mix it up with punches and close. But Quang Li, I think, is the more talented fighter than him. I think he's cleaner with his stand-up. He's got more ability to find the knockout. I think he's just better overall. And he took on a UFC debut on really short notice. And he went long with Chris Gutierrez, who, say what you want about him, is still a pretty crafty veteran of the game. And to win a round against him on days' notice, I think that's impressive. I think we're going to see Quang Li as the better striker. And I feel like he can defend the pressure attacks from Long Xiao, potentially looking to drag him to the floor. So I'm going with Quang Bang Li to catch a dub in this one. And I feel like we should all be pretty excited to see him go out there and perform. Now, let's check out the Savages on the scales here. We got to find Quang Bang Li. I'd like to find them first. Yes, we do. Look at this Savage. Quang Bang Li's underrated, bro. He's got the cult fan base brewing already. I like his style. He kind of looks like a zombie in that. But listen, he had a hard weight cut. You know what I'm saying? He's trimming some weight down. Long Xiao on the other side. Looks in good shape. Looks pretty intense, man. Looks mean, to be honest with you. Long Xiao, he looks like a military dude. Like, he looks like he's in the Chinese military. That's the vibe that I get from him. Now, as far as the face-offs between the two, you can see Quang a little bit taller. I feel like in a battle of face-off dominance, you have to favor Quang Li in this face-off. I feel like the aura is higher. He's a little bit taller. I think he's better on the feet. And I'm going with Quang Bang to catch a W. The name is really cool, and maybe that adds to my hype for him, but I think he's winning. And he's an underdog. I don't agree with that. I don't think Quang Li should be an underdog against Long Xiao. What has Long Xiao done? I mean, he lost to Chang Ho Li. And then on the opposite side, we got Quang, who went distance with Gutierrez on short notice. I disagree with the odds. I'm going with Quang Bang. Plus 130, give me Quang Bang. Quang Bang gang for the absolute W. Over minus 200, but what if Quang chins him? He's got knockout ability. Damn, plus 800 for a KO. It's a D-gen call. They're both in good shape. Long Xiao's pretty tough. It probably goes longer, but I like the chances of Quang winning as an underdog. I think he's an underrated dog in this one. I like the takedown defense. I like the striking. I feel like knockout potential is there. Long Xiao on the other side, he was KO'd 3 times. Listen, Quang is live for a knockout. It's not impossible. He's got some KOs recently, man. I'm going to say Quang Li wins this fight. Quang Li to beat Long Xiao. The short notice in the debut and now being well prepared for a tough Chinese Savage. I think that Quang Bang can catch it. Catch a dub. Catch a W with Quang Bang gang, man. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Launer Kavanagh versus Jose Ochoa. I've been picking Launer Kavanagh all week. I mean, it's hard to pick against him after he pulled off one of the most violent knockouts in Contender Series history. But to be completely fair, Antoine Ho is not Jose Ochoa. Ochoa actually seems like a pretty talented up-and-comer. The thing is, he hasn't really fought anybody good besides in his last fight in LFA. He fought Pantoja, who was on like the Brazilian national boxing team. But to be honest, when you think of Brazil, you don't really think of boxing. Like, how many good Brazilian boxers exist? I don't even know. I can't think of any Brazilian pro boxing champions. Can you? Let me know. I think that Lawner Kavanagh should win. I think he's a little bit more powerful in the stand-up, but he's dealing with a guy who's got the size advantage. The thing I was excited for was the face-off to see if Ochoa was actually 5'7", and he's every bit of 5'7". We'll first look at them on the scales just to, keep with the usual flow. You got Kavanagh. Dude, he looks almost like too goofy, though. He looks almost too goofy. I'm like losing anticipation for him. There's Kavanagh. I don't know. He looks like a goofy dude. He's got the bowl cut, too. I know he's a killer. I know he's got power, but he's taking on a shoot-their-box guy. Jose Ochoa is a big flyweight. Holy shit. Dude is absolutely shredded. Looks large for the weight class. Well, look at the face-off. He's got an absolutely sick chest piece. These guys look like bantamweight versus flyweight. Damn, yo. If you're on Lawner Kavanagh with some confidence, I think draw that shit back a little bit. Because Ochoa's a really talented up-and-comer. He trains with Charles Oliveira. He's a shoot-the-box Diego Lima prospect. When I've watched film on him in the past, I have witnessed a style that reminds me of Charlie O, but he also has his own flair to it, and he's super young and tall for the weight class. He could be live for a surprise in this fight here is what I'll say. With the odds being, minus 365 for Lawner Kavanagh, that's crazy. What was Lawner Kavanagh in his last fight? Against Antoine Ho, Lawner Kavanagh was a minus 165 favorite, and now he's all the way up at minus 365, fighting a guy who I'd say is arguably better. Interesting odds. Plus 290 for Ochoa. I'm not going to pick flip on this fight, but what I'll tell you is I think that Ochoa's a live underdog. I mean, I've said it since Sunday. The kid's talented. Kavanagh's a chalky favorite. The odds should look a lot more like, minus 180, minus 170 even. Like, I think Kavanagh deserves to be a favorite, but he doesn't deserve to be this wide of a favorite. Ochoa by submission, upwards of plus 1525. How many subs Ochoa got on the resume? I know he's got good knockout ability. 6 KOs, but he's got those long limbs. He could be live to pull off a submission surprise. Ochoa KO plus 650. Listen, the pick is going to remain. I'm not flipping on Lawner Kavanagh. I'm going to stick with the prospect, but I don't know, man. I'm worried about this pick. If tomorrow the fights go down and Ochoa wins, I feel like you can't at me because I saw the potential path, but I think Kavanagh can win a decision. I feel like it's going to be a harder fight than the matchup with Antoine Ho. I think he'll be tested a bit more, but I feel like you got to respect the, resume of Kavanagh, taking on good opposition, a lot of undefeated fighters. With Ochoa, I mean, last time he beat this Pantoja dude who was 5-0. Before that, it's a lot of journeymen / mid-tier guys, so we don't know exactly what the level's going to look like in the UFC. He's a shoot-the-box Diego Lima fighter, though. He's tall, he's long, probably he's got a submission threat he can bring in. Reminds me of a Hispanic Charles Oliveira. We'll pick Lawner Kavanagh here, but I'm not liking saying it. I'm not pick flip. I told myself before I'm not going to pick flip, but if I was going to pick flip, this would be a fight I consider pick flipping. If you're picking up what I'm putting down, because I just have a feeling that Ochoa might be a special talent that's getting overlooked because Kavanagh is such a hot prospect, but I just can't go against my tape. So the tape tells me Kavanagh. I'm not going to go emotional today and flip because I like Ochoa. I'm going to stick with Kavanagh to win. Okay, let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we got Carlos Hernandez versus Naim Jargal Tumendemberel. I've been going with Carlos Hernandez throughout the week. I think you have to favor his UFC experience at this point. I mean, he's got pretty good pressure wrestling and boxing. He's a gritty fighter overall. Scrambly, hard to control, durable. Did pretty well late against pretty good prospect in Ray Saruya. I know he got finished by Tatsuru Taira, but it's Taira. And then a win over Bondar where he really hurt him late in that fight. Nascimento submission, but Nascimento's a really good grappler. And then he beat Altamirano on a close decision. I'm seeing a competitive decision here. Naim Jargal Tumendemberel. He's got a pretty badass name and a pretty badass look. He looks like a supervillain, to be honest. But he hasn't beaten anybody good. He has a split decision over Topnoi Kiram that a lot of people felt like he lost. Then he got the quick win over Deniso, but he bullied that dude, and Deniso's not high level. Carlos Hernandez is not going to fall over when you hit him, you know what I'm saying? He's not going to give you the win. And I feel like Naim Jargal Tumendemberel, though I feel like he's powerful, though he has a Sambo and Judo base, I just don't know about his level inside of the UFC. It's too much of a what if. I like the talent. I like that he's 26. But Hernandez is a crafty veteran at this point. Now, flying across the world, taking on a Mongolian, if it's a split decision, it's probably going towards Tumendemberel. So take that into consideration as far as with the betting side of things. Now, as far as the face-offs, let's check these two out. Let's see who comes up first. Is it Naim Jargal Tumendemberel? Yes, it is. Look at Naim Jargal Tumendemberel. To be honest, though, his aura dipped a little bit. He looks kind of just like a young dude on his way up. Cool tattoo, though. I like it, man. I like the, tiger with the skeleton on the inside. It's a pretty badass vibe. And then Hernandez. Carlos Hernandez looks like a guy that might be doing your taxes. Like, if you told me he was a tax guy and he was, he's doing taxes for people, I'd be like, I'm not surprised. He's selling insurance. I'm not surprised. Carlos Hernandez looks like a very white-collar guy. And winning in a fight, having that look, it makes you want to sway towards Naim Jargal Tumendemberel just because the aura. But I just feel like you got to favor the UFC experience over Jargal, who we have no idea how he's going to look against anybody relatively decent. So I'm going to stick with Hernandez, but I like Naim Jargal Tumendemberel. The fan side of me is definitely rooting for him. But the pick side of me, I'm going to go Hernandez, and I'm not just going to blindly pick a dog because I want odds or because I think somebody looks cool. But yeah, it's better for the UFC if Tumendemberel wins because Hernandez is a proven gatekeeper journeyman. Minus 183 for Carlos Hernandez with Naim Jargal Tumendemberel at plus 158. I think there's a good chance of this fight going into the later stages, over 2.5 at minus 162. Fight ends in a split or majority decision, plus 375. I think there's a real chance it's a close decision. What's Tumendemberel by decision? Plus 500. Tumendemberel by split decision, plus 800. I could see them giving him a split decision even if Hernandez wins. Like, I think if there's a robbery on this card earlier in the night, a fight that goes long, that's close, and the Americans should get it, but it's close enough that they can give it to the Mongolian. I feel like they might. We haven't been in China for a while, so I don't know exactly how the scorecards are going to look. How controversial are we going to get it? We'll find out. I'm going to say that Carlos Hernandez should win a decision, but he might lose the decision if it's super close to, Tumendemberel, who's from that side of the world. The art of knockout, but he's more so known for submissions too, and Hernandez not easy to body on the ground. I'll go Hernandez on the judges' scorecards. Next fight brings us to a trio of road to UFC fights, the finals. We have Xiaocan Feng versus Ming. I like Xiaocan Feng a lot in this fight. I've been picking her. I've been saying this, she actually seems like a promising prospect, whereas Ming is 30, and if she somehow wins, I expect her to be like a 50-50 UFC fighter, where I feel like Xiaocan Feng has the ceiling where, I could see her ranked. She seems like at 22, she's got the ability to be something special in MMA. She's got a really good striking game. She's slick from the outside, hands low style, comfortable, tapping up shots. It's a really cool flow that she brings. I've said it, reminds me of Randy Brown at times. And I don't know. I just think for as young as she is at 22, nearly 23, I guess she'll be, 23 in a couple of weeks. I think that her ceiling is extremely high, and I think that she has a very bright future, whereas I think Ming is going to be a UFC washout, and I don't think Xiaocan Feng is getting exposed by Ming. Now, I know last fight for Xiaocan Feng, she was put in a compromised position late in the fight, and she was locked in a sub versus, a girl who was maybe mediocre, but to be fair, she dominated the majority of the fight. There's Xiaocan Feng. She got a high-level look. She got the hairy armpits coming in, though. That means she's serious, bro. She's not even shaving those armpits. She's like, listen, I'm a gangster. I'm ready to go to war. I don't care. The pits can be long. And then we got Ming, bro. Ming 1,000% looks like a damn PE teacher, bro. Gym class, the gym coach. Tell me that's not Ming. She looks like a gym coach, bro. Very gym coach vibes from Ming. Now, as far as the face-offs between the two savage ladies, you have about a foot in height difference here. and Xiaocan Feng being the better striker from distance, Mingxi better be wrestling like crazy. And I don't think she's going to get Xiaocan Feng down. I think Xiaocan's takedown defense will hold up. She might be live for a KO. I could see her end up like touching up Mingxi with some clean ones and putting her lights out. I feel like Xiaocan Feng is a really talented striker, and Mingxi's just kind of average. As far as the odds, over 2.5 at -400, Xiaocan Feng at -400, Mingxi at -310. I ain't believing in Mingxi. Feng by KO is +450. Not out of the realm of possibility. Xiaocan Feng's got 4 wins by KO, 1 submission, 5 decisions. Still, though, she could put Mingxi out. She could touch her up with good shots. She lost to a 1-1 girl 2 years ago. I'm not really worried about that. Close fight last time, though, against Zhang. I think Xiaocan Feng's a talented up-and-comer. I think Mingxi is, I don't know, just not that promising. Like, Xiaocan Feng could be one of the best road to UFC fighters that get signed to the UFC. Because let's be real, road to UFC fighters have done kind of shit inside of the UFC. And maybe Xiaocan Feng can like change the trajectory of these road to UFC fighters. She can get an impressive win and then get like, you know, the road to UFC talent on the uproar. I would like to see it because right now it goes Contender Series, Ultimate Fighter, road to UFC, like not even on screen. Xiaocan Feng, though, expect a nice win, and I think she's going to get it done. Dominance here over Mingxi, and hopefully a knockout. Next fight on the card, we have the 125-pound men's championship. We got Kiru Sahota versus Dong Hoon Choi. I've been picking Dong Hoon Choi to outdog Sahota and win a competitive decision. Choi's good at comebacks. Like, he'll be losing early portions of the fight, and the dude just doesn't quit on himself and is able to pull off wins. Now, to be fair, Sahota has a crazy height and reach advantage, 5'10 to 5'5, and 66.5-inch reach to 73. Like, yeah, that's a substantial factor that we have to take into consideration. But I think, you know, coming into round 2 and 3, Hoon Choi will be able to close the gap. And also, I don't think Sahota's that great from the outside. Sahota's also a Punjabi Indian fighter, man. And let me tell you something. Inside of the UFC, the Indian fighters ain't been doing well, okay? They have been lacking. We haven't seen high success from any fighter from that region of the world. And not to say it's impossible, but I don't know, man. Dong Hoon Choi got the absolute savage sleeve as well. And he's got the goatee, kind of looking like me, but I think I rock it a little better than him. But, you know, nice try. Nice try. Kiru Sahota, to be honest, he is the most chatted Indian fighter in UFC history. Dude's got a pretty badass beard. Looks a lot like Amir Khan. I guess the truth be told about the fight is that, you know, he lives in the UK. So though he's representing India, he is from the UK. And he's also a British fighter. You can kind of see the British influence on the haircut for sure. Now, as far as the face-off, you can see the size difference. Man, Dong Hoon Choi looks like a midget. Dong Hoon Choi looks short, man. I'm going to pick Dong Hoon Choi, but if I was just judging off the face-offs, Dong Hoon Choi looks like a 14-year-old kid, and Sahota looks like a grown man. So, take that as what you will. Listen, doesn't mean Dong Hoon Choi can't fight, though. And Sahota is skinny as they get, bro. Dude looks thin. 5'10 at 125. Like, I don't know how that's humanly possible. The odds are about even, -112, -108. Like, to me, it's a stay-away fight. I'm not touching no over. I'm sitting down watching this fight. It's road to UFC. Betting on a fight like this is high risk, especially when the odds are not even worth it for me. I'm not interested, bro. I mean, it's live to go distance. -205 for the over. Choi by decision plus. I'm chilling. Not interested. But I'll be interested watching the fight. I mean, if you're throwing down on either one of these guys, good luck. Choi has good comeback ability. Sahota's way taller and longer. We'll see what happens. I'll say Choi gets a competitive decision after losing the first round. Next fight on the card, it's our featured prelim and is the bantamweight road to UFC final. It's Su Young Yu versus Balgin Jelaisa. I've been picking Balgin Jelaisa to win. He's also one of the weirdest looking fighters in UFC history, which I think is a good thing because that weird look is going to carry him. I feel like Su Yung Yu, I might be a little biased against him because commentary was glazing him his last fight. Man, this guy here, he's very similar to Khabib Nurmagomedov style. Minute later, he gets taken down. I'm like, yeah, okay. I mean, he did have like a cool cartwheel spin into a back take last fight. He seems to have pretty good wrestling, but I don't know. He'll shoot a lot of takedowns. I just don't think he's that good. His striking's okay, but Jella Issa is pretty strong. He's bigger, and he's got decent stand-up. I feel like he can beat him. I feel like Balgin Jella Issa can pull off the win. I'm not like jumping out the page impressed by either one of these guys, to be real with you right now. But Balgin Jella Issa seems a little bit better on the feet, and Su Yung Yu seems really overrated. So we shall find out when the damn cage door closes. Another one of these road to UFC fights where you're playing with fire. But look at Balgin, bro. Are you kidding me? He looks like he could be in a horror movie. The dude is terrifying to look at. I'm scared right now. He looks like something from Halloween, bro. Holy shit. Like, definitely in like an Asian horror film, he could be a star. So hopefully, with a win here, maybe it goes his direction. Now here he looks like a lot more normal, but the other pic sold the point a lot better. The other picture was more cool. And then where's our guy? We got to scroll down. How far we got to look for him? Where is he? Is he all the way at the bottom? Yeah, Su Yung Yu with the goatees all the way at the bottom. Su Yung Yu putting the fingers to the sky, kind of like a Khabib knockoff. Instead of this, he goes like this. I respect it. I respect it. I respect the Asian spin-off, bro. He's South Korean. I was going to say China brand, but no, he's South Korean. And then the face-off between the two. You see what I'm saying about Balgin's head shape? It's like interesting. He looks crazy. I don't know. None of these guys getting my money, but good luck. Good luck to both. I think Balgin Jella Issa can pull through. It's a road to UFC finale. He's a dog. Plus 143. Maybe you're dog chasing. Just give me the dog. I know some of you guys are like that, so plus 143, I picked it. Su Yung Yu, the Khabib spinoff that gets taken down. Yeah. Over minus 205, possibly. I got to see what Jella Issa and Su Yung Yu bring inside of the damn cage when they fight. I guess we won't even know because it's still road to UFC opposition. But, on an official UFC card, it makes it better. I get a better idea of things. I'm going to say Su Yung Yu gets beaten 2-1 after he lands some takedowns in round 1. Jella Issa starts having some success. I'll say that he lands some bigger punches. I'll say he makes Su Yung Yu a little bit uncomfortable, and I'll say he pulls through with the win. So, Balgin Jella Issa, tricky-ass name. Doesn't look like that's how you'd say it, but shit, I looked it up online. That's how they say it. Balgin Jella Issa for the W. All right, let's jump to our main card opener. Thank God. We got Ozzy Diaz versus Mingyang Zhang. And also, guys, if you're watching, it's 3:10 a.m. at the time of this recording. Make sure you guys smash the like button for the late night show. And if you're new, subscribe it up. We got Ozzy Diaz versus Mingyang Zhang. I'm going with Mingyang Zhang. Are you not a fan of him? He literally chinned Brenson Hibero viciously. He beat Tuco Tucos on road to the UFC. And, Tucos is now in the UFC, even though he's not doing well. Still, he's in the UFC. Mingyang Zhang's scary, man. He hits with a ton of power. He's so clean on the feet. He likes to brawl, though. He sits in the pocket and mixes it up. Ozzy Diaz does have a striking style, too. I'd consider him a brawler. But he's more the brawler who's going to overwhelm you with pressure and like the volume punching break you style. Whereas Mingyang Zhang is more of the like one touch and you're out cold. He likes to sit in the pocket and exchange. He's willing to take a punch to land one. Ozzy Diaz has fought at 185 before. He's coming up in weight for this matchup here against Mingyang Zhang, and I think he's getting absolutely starched. He got badly KO'd by Joe Bodybags Pyfer on Contender Series at 185. He's decided to move up, and in his UFC debut, they're giving him a knockout artist. I think Mingyang Zhang is going to get an impressive win. And I feel like at 26, he's somebody to keep an eye on at light heavyweight. He seems like a promising up-and-comer, and I really enjoy watching his style. I like guys who sit in there and trade big shots, and that's exactly what Mingyang Zhang is. We got Ozzy Diaz, who, to be fair, also sits in trades, but he just doesn't give me the vibe of a guy that's going to beat Mingyang Zhang, and I think most of you will probably agree. He's got, the bald head up in here, I don't know. I don't want to say the homeless look, but definitely not the Mingyang Zhang fraud checker look, right? Look at Mingyang Zhang. Look at this savage. Sensational up-and-comer. To be honest, bro, very Minecraft-shaped head, though. But that might benefit his chin. I know he's been knocked out before, but not at a high level. Not in a long time. Got knocked out outside of the UFC. Now that he's older, he's been doing better. He's not getting chinned. Then we got the face-off. Ozzy Diaz a little taller and thicker, though. But he just seems like the opponent for Mingyang Zhang. I don't think Zhang is selling it. I don't think Diaz has enough one-shot knockout power, and his willingness to bang and trade shots is going to get his light shut off. And Mingyang Zhang's UFC win against Brenson Hibero, I think it's aged well because Hibero's got a nice win. And he also went distance with Gadzi Yasulov, and Mingyang Zhang violently destroyed him. Plus 250 for Ozzy Diaz, Mingyang Zhang minus 300. I'm sticking with the Mingyang Zhang pick. I think this fight's going to end in a violent knockout. It's going to start the main card off right. And if you're sleepy, it's going to wake you up. It's minus 160 for Mingyang Zhang. Give me Zhang by violence. I think the hands will be on display. I like the way he sits in the pocket and trades. I like the knockout ability. I think he's dangerous as hell. I like his style a lot, man. Mingyang Zhang is fun to watch. And I think he's got an edge over Ozzy Diaz, mixing it up on the inside. Both guys I'd consider brawlers. I would say that more power on the side of Mingyang Zhang. I like the way he sits on his punches and throws hard. He's got a good shot over the top. He's got a nice hook. Liking to brawl. Ozzy Diaz will match him in that. And I think he doesn't have the same level of power. And I think the Diaz chin gets dropped. He has looked better at 205 than 85, in my opinion. Carrying a little extra weight has helped his chin, has helped his offense, but he hasn't fought Mingyang Zhang yet. So Zhang by KO, Mountain Tiger for violence, 26-year-old savage to get it done, and somebody to watch in the light heavyweight division, I feel like. Let's keep running. Next fight on the card, we have Volkan Oezdemir versus Carlos Ulberg. I've been confident in Carlos Ulberg all week, okay? He's a part of the Lock City parlay this week. And I think Ulberg is going to pick Volkan Oezdemir apart. Carlos Ulberg is better offensively, but it's also because he has very good mobility. I've been picking him because his striking from distance is very on point. He's got legit knockout power, and he's a high-caliber kickboxer that transitioned to MMA. Also is a very good athlete, also is very fit. I think it's going to take him far. I see him as a guy that can mix it up with some of the better competition at light heavyweight. Now, Volkan Oezdemir is that better competition. I'm not overlooking Volkan. Volkan is a good pressure fighter. He's got legit power in his hands. He's got a nice knockout last time out against Johnny Walker. He beat Bogdan Gushkov in the fight before, but he was getting touched a bit by Bogdan Gushkov. Oezdemir does not have the slickness of Ulberg nor the speed, right? His best chance to win is going to be getting in that red zone, getting in close range, and mixing it up with big shots, throwing one, landing one, and being willing to eat one. But I don't think you can eat a clean shot from Ulberg. And on top of that, Ulberg has pretty good distance management. On top of that, he's got better footwork, speed edge. And I feel like he's the prospect on the come up and somebody to watch. And like Oezdemir normally has also against some of these like mid-tier wrestlers in the weight class, Oezdemir is going to have a potential pressure grappling or takedown threat, or he's dealing with a guy that has, inefficient striking defense. He has neither of those options here with Carlos Ulberg. That's what makes me so confident in Ulberg. I really think that he can catch Oezdemir and knock him out. Oezdemir is talented, and he's still a tough OG at 35, and he still can beat a lot of light heavyweights, but Carlos Ulberg is precise, he's crisp, and he's honestly one of the most promising up-and-comers in the weight class, and it would be damn good if he could get to the high level and potentially be in the title picture, especially if Alex Pereira is still champ. But even if Ankalaev's champ, Ulberg would be a really interesting challenger coming from that City Kickboxing team. I think he's next up for City Kickboxing. I'm not saying he's definitely the next champ, but I think he's going to catch a W. Carlos Ulberg there, he looks pretty cool in this one. To be honest with you, Ulberg's got a cool vibe. There's the flex. He looks shredded out. He's got like extra abs at the top. I swear that gives him more knockout power. On the other side, we got Volkan Oezdemir. The bald-headed Oezdemir looks like a shredded thumb for this fight here. But, he's got a stylish look for himself. He's known for knockout ability. He comes in good shape. Like, I can't really shit on Volkan Oezdemir. He's a crafty OG. But I just think he's taken on somebody that has legit top 5 promise. And I think that we're going to see Ulberg live up to the hype. Now, he does have the feather earring, which is, a little bit on the fruitier side, but he rocks it well. If you're from that side of the world, Australia, New Zealand, you can rock it, right? It's a cultural style, so he can rock it. If Oezdemir had it, I'd be asking a lot of questions, and, the John Jones rumors would now bleed over to Oezdemir. But for Ulberg, he's cool enough that he can rock it. He's got enough aura that is not weird. I think that Carlos Ulberg, with the striking technicality advantage, can deal with a bulldozing brawler in Volkan and can violently chin him. Now, he's minus 240, so he's a pretty wide favorite here. Oezdemir plus 205 as, a large underdog, but I think Ulberg's got his number, man. I see his mobility as a substantial factor. I see his striking from range on point. Over 1.5 minus 185. It's risky for the fact that Ulberg is live for a KO at any point with a counter shot. But Oezdemir is a tough OG, and he's not easy to put away. I'm going to say that there is a chance, though, that Ulberg puts the lights out. Plus 130 for Ulberg KO. I do think that is a live method of victory. But if you've been watching throughout the week, or maybe it's your first time watching, Ulberg, I'm putting in a Lock City parlay. I got another piece that I'll mention when we get to that fight to lock it with it. And at the end, we're going to have a pure parlay section where I'll reiterate everything. I like Carlos Ulberg. Yes, minus 240 is a chalky line, but chalky confident call. I think Ulberg can beat Oezdemir. I think that the reason the odds are juiced like this is because he's recognized as a high caliber talent. He opened up as a good size favorite. The odds have stayed relatively wide all week, and I think that Carlos Ulberg is going to get the career win that he needs to start mixing it up with the higher level guys. Because let's be honest, you beat Volkan Oezdemir, you're in the mix. Oezdemir's losses, Nikita Krylov, who's very good, Magomed Ankalaev, there's other losses as well, but recent ones, Magomed Ankalaev, he went distance with. If Ulberg chins him, that's a statement, and I think he could. Prohashka also fought Oezdemir and beat him and knocked him out violently, and look at Prohashka, became the champ. I think Ulberg is, of a high-level cloth, and I think he's chinning Volkan. Good fight. Next fight on the card, we have the ladies going after it. We got Cong Wang versus Gabriela Fernandes. Listen, Cong Wang gang for life, bro. Cong Wang's nickname Joker, she lives up to it. We'll look at the face-offs in a second, but let me just brag about Cong Wang for a second. She has a sensational striking style. She's got the aura to be a champion. She beat Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing. She's slick and precise with legit knockout power, which is rare in the women's weight classes. On the opposite side, Fernandes is like a powerful and explosive, kind of wild Muay Thai striker who likes to throw looping shots that I actually think can put her in bad positions. Like, Gabriela Fernandes has never fought a girl that has power like a Cong Wang. That one touch can literally put your lights out. It's not common, right? So Gabriela Fernandes, a lot of the time, is going to get away with being wild and reckless and backing girls up and making them uncomfortable, because there's a lot of girls that just don't have power, right? There's a lot of women in MMA that have zero pop. That's not Cong Wang, because she's got a thudding shot. She's got a violent knockout in her debut, and she comes from the high-level striking background, as I mentioned. And I think that Gabriela Fernandes is a fun striker, but she doesn't bring any other threat to this fight. To give Cong Wang trouble, I truly believe it will be somebody who has a very well-versed MMA game that can time takedowns alongside of the striking. Gabriela Fernandes has like a pressure clinch, but she's really not good with offensive wrestling. Last fight, split decision with Carly Judice, and I think she looked bad in the later stages. Cong Wang is definitely live for a knockout, and I will predict that Cong Wang pulls a finish off. We got to check them out in the scales. We got to check the ladies out on the scales, all right? First, we got Gabriela Fernandes. Not to be a hater, but NPC, like kind of jacked Brazilian women's fighter, yes or no? Let me know. And then on the other side, I mean, Cong Wang is just an absolute badass. There's Cong Wang flexing the bicep. The aura is high. She looks like she could be a title challenger soon. I think the UFC is definitely hoping for it. Get a star from that side of the world to mix it up at 125. Shit. That'd be good. Look at this. Look at this. She comes in full Joker makeup and shoots Gabriela Fernandes. Not a real shot. Obviously, it was the finger shots. But she's like acting like as if she's the Joker. The girl's just an absolute badass. Gabriela Fernandes was so confused. She was like so boggled by that. She's like, what is going on? Cong Wang is about to absolutely starch you, Gabriela Fernandes. That's what's going on. Kong Wang is a gangster. At minus 800, yeah, she deserves that wide of a tag. She's one of the most promising up-and-comers in women's MMA right now. And I think of all of the female up-and-coming prospects, Kong Wang could legit be a star for women's MMA if successful this weekend. And I do think she will be. Over 2.5 minus 165. I'm going to say it goes under. I'm saying we get a knockout. Knockout win for Kong Wang, plus 250. I'm saying Kong Wang counter shot KO. She lands the death punch. Fernandes goes unconscious. It's a violent affair. It's a fight to be excited about. Kong Wang gang, stand up. Kong Wang gang, stand up. Let us know in the comments if you like Wang. Like Finchman said on Moneyline. That was fucking great. Kong Wang for the win. We'll go on Kong Wang violence to beat Gabriela Fernandes. Next fight on the card. It brings us to our featured bout of the night. We got Kenan Song versus Muslim Salikhov. I've been picking Kenan Song. Like, I got to favor the youth, man. I'm not picking the 40-year-old Muslim Salikhov to beat Kenan Song, who's a pretty powerful striker. He's got pretty quick hands, pretty smooth on the feet, pretty dangerous. Looked decent last time out, beating up Ricky Glenn, who's more of a pressure grappler these days. Fight before got picked apart kind of by Kevin Jousset, but he landed some decent shots on the feet. He dropped Ian Gary in the past. Muslim Salikhov is 40, man. He's coming off that split decision with Ponzinibbio, who's also up there. Fight before that, he got chinned badly by Randy Brown. Dalby fight, he went distance with, still lost. He beat Figueiredo. That doesn't mean much in this day and age. I feel like Kenan Song can win this fight. Like, time beats all, okay? Time is truth. There's nothing you can do about Father Time. And Salikhov at 40, it's just very hard for me to pick him against Kenan Song, who, to be fair, has been very active as well. Both guys have been pretty active. Like 3 fights in the past year and a half for both of them. Like, I got to say, I respect the activity rate for Salikhov. If you're going to be 40 and fight, you better be fighting all the time. And he does that. But I think Kenan Song's going to be quicker. I think Kenan Song's boxing is going to work here. Salikhov's got good kicks, but looping shots with a lot of fat on them in the punching, I think Song's a little cleaner with his boxing, and that's why I'm favoring him to win. Let's check out the scales, and let's see what we're looking at between these two. Bum, 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 bum. Where is Kenan Song? There he is. Look at Kenan Song. He looks half cross-eyed, man. What is he looking at, me, or is he looking at somebody in the crowd? I don't know. But it don't matter. He don't need to see straight to land straight. As long as he throws straight, he's catching a W. And let's see the OG. Muslim Salikhov's hair has somehow gotten thicker, bro. The hairline looks thicker. He grows his hair out for this fight. It looks like it's taken 5 years of age off. He was looking 57 in his past few weigh-ins. I mean, here, he looks in his late 40s. I got to say, respect to him growing that hair out. It was a good move. Salikhov, though he's an OV, though he's a Russian fighter, he's not a wrestler. He's a power striker. He's a karate fighter, really. High-level kickboxing game, but, you know, smaller guy, 40s. I think Kenan Song can pull through. We're also in Kenan Song's side of the work. Granted, you know, Salikhov's Russian, so not too far away. But I think Kenan Song can win. I can feel the aura. Song looks big at the face-off, too. He looks pretty jacked. Look at the delts on Song. He looks muscular. Salikhov looks in great shape for 40, to be fair. But that plus 150, that doesn't make sense. Why is Kenan Song the underdog here against Muslim Salikhov? Explain that to me. I don't know. I don't think he should be the dog. I think that Kenan Song should actually be even money or the favorite here. Salikhov at minus 175 is quite interesting. Now, as far as betting anything besides money line, I say no. I'd rather just go money line. Song via KO, what is that? Plus 550, not going to chase that. Song via decision, plus 265. I'm going to say Kenan Song wins the fight at plus 150. I think it would be worthwhile to only touch the money line of him as a dog, or potentially, you know, D-Gen parlay it up if you're looking for extra plus money. But I'm not going to be chasing no prop. I think Kenan Song is live to win. I like his stand-up game in this fight. I like the speed advantage. He's taking on a 40-year-old kickboxer who built his game on having good reflexes and really snappy and explosive strikes. And that just naturally slows down as you creep up to that 40 mark. So I think that Kenan Song taking on a 40-year-old man should be able to get the win. I'll ride with him to pull through as an underdog in our featured fight. Let's keep on running up. Next fight on the card, we have Yan Xiaonan versus Tabitha Ricci. I've been picking Tabitha Ricci, and there is something that's a part of the Lock City parlay this week in this fight, but it's not Tabitha Ricci money line. I'm picking her as a dog, but I'm not telling you that's the call. I'm going the over 2.5. I think these ladies go long. I think that's a money call for Ulberg and the over 2.5 in this fight, just for the bettors out there that want to hear it. Now, as far as the fight breakdown, the reason I'm picking Tabitha Ricci is Xiaonan has struggled with good grapplers in the past, and Tabitha Ricci does have decent smothering pressure, and if it hits the ground, she has high-quality jiu-jitsu. Xiaonan was getting absolutely destroyed in certain moments of the fight against Wei Li. She did survive and go distance, but like I've put this argument out. Imagine the odds of this fight if Xiaonan gets submitted in the first round by Wei Li and doesn't get saved by the bell. Is she the plus 165 underdog as she takes on a good grappler? Maybe. Tabitha Ricci, stylistically, is a hard matchup because Xiaonan's biggest struggles in her fighting career have been against girls who have good grappling ability. I mean, you look, lost to Carla Esparza, grappling savage. Marina Rodriguez, that was a robbery. Close fight with Dern. Destroyed Andrade. Andrade sprinted at her with her hands down. Andrade was totally checked out in that fight, to be fair. She was going through a divorce, just to be real. Weili Zhang lost, goes distance, lost that fight. Granted, some moments, so she's got a little hype coming in, but I don't know. I think Ricci could pull through on a competitive decision. She's known for these competitive decisions. The Tisha Pennington fight was close, but Tisha got crazy takedown defense. Angela Hill win is still pretty impressive. Not long ago, 2 months ago. Tabitha Ricci's been mad active, and she's definitely getting the push from the UFC. They would like to see her do well. Obviously, she's dating Colin Walsh, who's pro boxer and an absolute investment of Dana White. So for her to have success, I guess they want the whole potential family to succeed. Xiaonan's also 35. I think Baby Shark Tabitha Ricci can pull through. I like her chances here in this fight. I don't love her chances, but I like her chances. Let's check out the scale. Unfortunately, I don't have the rear view shot of Tabitha Ricci that I think most of you are here for, but you can just see Tabitha Ricci straight on, looking in good shape from what I can see. And then you got Xiaonan, who looks absolutely terrifying. Yan looks pretty great, but she looks scary, though. Looks like a killer, man. She's got a very intense vibe about her. Ricci smiling, having a good time, trying to look cute out there. Tabitha Ricci's dangerous, but I guess, is she dangerous? She's good at winning. The smiles is not a great vibe. I don't know, man. This intense look. Xiaonan's a scary girl to fight in Asia. I'll tell you that. I'm picking Tabitha Ricci, but by no means am I calling this a high-confidence call. This is the pick you guys are waiting for. A little multi-angle shot of Tabitha Ricci. Intense face-off with her and Yan Xiaonan. Yan Xiaonan looks intense as hell. Ricci staring into her soul. I feel like Tabitha Ricci wins a competitive decision with pressure grappling, but I'll tell you this. If she gets caught up on the feet and can't get any threat of any kind of grappling going, even if it's in the clinch, I worry about her getting busted up because Xiaonan can definitely strike. Xiaonan's minus 185, the favorite. Ricci plus 160. I'll take Ricci by a close decision as a dog. But we are in that side of the world, which I guess is worrisome. Over is minus 400. That's why I love the over, because it's high confidence. Decision for Ricci plus 225. Yan decision minus 120. I think that Tabitha Ricci at plus 160 is live to pull through. I'm going to pick her. I like that I pick Song more, and I like that I pick Quang Li more. But she's an underdog call. It's more so matchup specific, because like, what happens if Yan Xiaonan is taken down? I could definitely see Ricci grinding her way to a decision. I could see her threatening with submissions in position. Definitely think Ricci's boxing's gotten better too, and I think it's enough for her to survive. Xiaonan's very intimidating, so Ricci just can't get intimidated here, and I think she could pull through. I'm going to go with Tabitha Ricci to win. I'm picking her to pull through and get it done. I think that she keeps on moving up the ranks. She's definitely getting the push. And if she wins here, she's in the title picture, which the UFC is salivating at that. And most of you fans are too. Ricci for the win. Next fight on the card. It brings us to our main event of the evening. If you guys haven't yet, make sure you smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. We got Petr Yan versus Deiveson Figueiredo. I've been picking Petr Yan all week leading into this fight. I like the chances of him winning. precise boxing / kickboxing. He's obviously good with, punches and kicks. Very good speed with a good gas tank as well. He's got quick movements. I feel like he's better with his feet than Deiveson Figueiredo, like footwork-wise. Even though Figueiredo has a good like karate-esque striking style, I feel like Jan's got more speed on his feet. I don't know. He's more like cat-like on the feet. I will say at times Jan does overreact to takedown attempts because I think he has a fear of getting that body triangle locked in like what happened with him and Aljo a while ago. Deiveson Figueiredo, I will guarantee you, is going to try and mix in some takedowns in this fight because he knows that Petr Yan is a dangerous striker. Now, Figueiredo's got precise punching, though. He's dangerous from the outside, nasty straight shot. He dropped Marlon Vera, but, like, don't be so sold that he's a bantamweight knockout artist. He's definitely not. 3 fights at bantamweight, decision of Rob Font, beat Cody Garbrandt by submission, but he kind of got touched early in that fight by Cody. And then Marlon Vera, who he beats on a 3-round decision. Think about the matchups. Rob Font, flawed on the ground, right? Deiveson Figueiredo, high level everywhere. Cody Garbrandt, past his prime, had lost to Rob Font. And, obviously Figgy had a big grappling edge there. Chito Vera fights at a very calculated pace. Somebody that's not going to exploit Figueiredo's potential lack of gas tank, which I've spoken upon. I think his gas tank is subpar. And I know Petr Yan's got a true 5-round gas tank. I think as the fight wears on, that is when Petr Yan takes over. He beat Song Yadong with a bit of an injury coming into it, right? And beating Song Yadong is no easy feat. And he pulled off a decision unanimous. Lost to Merab. It's Merab, though. Lost to O'Malley, and a lot of people felt he should have won. And looking at it now, could have gave it to him for sure. Aljamain Sterling split decision, and then obviously he beat Sandhagen. In the Aljo fight, he got body triangled a lot in the fight. Aljo didn't do much damage, but he did fairly lose that fight. First time, though, against Aljo, he's beating his ass. Like, if we get that Petr Yan, Figueiredo should be afraid. Because the Petr Yan that was whooping Aljo that first time looked insane. He's got dangerous throws he can mix in. I feel like Petr Yan starts taking over this fight when we pass round 2. 3, 4, 5. I think Jan's wrestling also comes in handy in the later stages. First 2 rounds, I could even see Figueiredo with a more offensive wrestling threat. But as the fight wears on, Figgy slows down. I think Jan can keep the same type of pace and potentially threaten with takedown attempts. Mixing in with high-quality striking, I think Petr Yan's winning the decision. And he honestly puts himself back in the mix for sure. Now, as far as the scales between the two, let's check out these savages. Let's see. Where is Deiveson Figueiredo? Actually, I know where they are. They're right at the bottom. We got Petr Yan, fist up in the air, looking in pretty great shape. He looks pretty jacked for this fight. People talking about, it looks like he's put on some evident muscle mass, which I would say is a positive. Figueiredo looks pretty good on the scale. The weight cut's not draining him much anymore. But I don't know. Figueiredo, tell me right now if you agree with me. He looks like he's going to lose this weekend. Like, the whole vibe about him. It just looks like he's taking an L to Yan. I don't think he's beating a Petr Yan. Say what you want about Yan. His losses are literally the champs. There's a face-off between the two. You can see Jan's a little bigger, a little bit thicker. With a better gas tank, too. I think kind of everything favors Yan. Figueiredo's going to chin him. There's the side-by-side. You can see Yan a little more muscular, a little thicker. Yeah, I think Petr Yan wins this fight. I'm going Petr Yan by a decision to take out the former flyweight champion. As far as the odds, Jan's a big favorite at minus 310. Deiveson Figueiredo plus 260 as the dog, but I like Petr Yan's chances to get it. Probably going all the way. Minus 180 for the over. 4.5 over 3.5 minus 275. What's Yan by decision? Yan by decision plus 115. Yan by KO plus 200. I feel like if Yan is to win, it's probably a later stage knockout, like heading into round 4, round 5, kind of like what he did with with Aldo. Yan wins in rounds 3 or 4 plus 700. Yan wins 5 or decision minus 110. Damn. I favor decision around 5 to be real with you, but 3 or 4 also live, you get way more plus money. But you're chasing odds there. The confidence is Petr Yan straight down the line. Petr Yan is a confident pick that you can money line. Not really. He has to be parlay pieced. It is what it is. Listen, I'm not picking just to look for underdogs. I'm picking you who I think is going to win the fight. Figueiredo, yes, he's maybe an oversized dog, but it's because Petr Yan is the bigger guy, more natural bantamweight, former champion of the world, probably a later stage in the fight wrestling advantage, higher caliber gas tank. With all those other factors, I mean, you got to favor Jan to pull through and win. He's probably getting a decision. I'm feeling the vibe of Jan pulling it out and getting a nice W to get back on track. He's 31. He's young. Figueiredo's almost 37. Petr Yan's more prime. Petr Yan's going to win this fight, man. Petr Yan outworks Deiveson Figueiredo for either a late knockout finish or a unanimous decision. We're going Jan to pull through. Those are the predictions for UFC Macau. We're not done yet. We're going to check out the parlays again. And we're going to see, does everything still line up? Do I feel good about everything still? Yes, Lock City. Yes, with the safe alt. I'm very worried about Kavanagh Ulberg, man. That's a worrisome call. Because Kavanagh came in looking so much smaller, I don't know if that's good at odds like that. Might be a cancel. Ulberg, Ricci, Jan, over 2.5 Zhang. I like this one. If you don't like Ulberg, I think you could just replace it with Jan in your lineup and put him in with those other two. That comes through. Obviously, I have Ulberg in a lot of these calls, which is dangerous game doing it. So if you're thinking, listen, bro, I like what your D-Gen calls are, but maybe you're worried about Ulberg, maybe you're taking him out, and maybe you just ride it with the other lineup that I got. Definitely feeling like I want to create one live for you guys. I think Petr Yan looked pretty great on the scale, and I got to favor him to win. I'll leave Ulberg out for now, but I'll be putting him in. If you want to chase odds, you go Ulberg, you go Quang Lee, and you go Kenan Song plus 662, or rather Yan, not Ulberg, excuse me. Then if you wanted to add in Ulberg, you're now at plus 1,000 money. And if you also think Mingyang Zhang's winning, it's plus 1329. Obviously, I like Xiaocan Feng a lot. You can put her in the lineup, even if you don't like Ulberg or if you don't like Mingyang Zhang, you take them out. You still get plus 852 if you're riding with dogs and Yan and Xiaocan. Now, if you don't like the dogs that I called, maybe you're like, bro, give me a break on these underdogs. I'm not feeling it. I will tell you, okay, no problem. You do as you feel because it ain't about just chasing odds. Petr Yan and Xiaocan Feng is minus 150. I'm not just doing that straight. With Mingyang Zhang, though, there it's the plus 116. I talked about adding that one in. Maybe you're, going D-Gen calls. Maybe you want to go straight D-Gen mode. You're like, listen, just give me dogs with a chance. Imagine you go Quang Lee, you go Jose Ochoa, and then next thing you know it, you go Kenan Song plus 2107, and you throw the over in the ladies fight plus 2646 with Petr Yan plus 3,561 with Ulberg plus 5,188, Mingyang plus 6,766. I'm going D-Gen as hell, guys. You got to get me to chill. Don't go too D-Gen. Be intelligent with your bets. Obviously, the Lock City parlay still stands. You can mix and match Ulberg out if you don't like him. But, I like the Song, the Quang underdog sides. I still picked Ricci, but I like the over more. And then the road to UFC fights, aside from Xiaocan Feng, personally, I like the side of staying the hell away. I hope you guys enjoyed this very late night weigh-in recap show for UFC Macau. I will be live for the whole card, so keep it locked in. Subscribe. Smash that damn like button. I appreciate everybody tuning into the show. Daily content, daily live streams, bringing the fire every single day. So keep it locked in on the channel. I appreciate you guys for watching. I'll see you all in the next one. Let me know in the comments what you thought too. And W in the comments if you had nothing to say. Thanks, guys. Peace out.